There
This
are
is
results,
funny.
by the way.
Oh, there are now.
Saw.
Oh, yeah, John, hit us.
Yeah, so the initial 35,625 votes are in. There's 9% reporting. I'm assuming that a massive chunk of that is mail-in ballots. But right now, Mike Garcia is leading at 57.7% to Christy Smith's 42.3%.
Not a good
And
start.
that is, I mean, they're all mail-in, right, or drop-off. So, but yeah, that's the first tranche that comes in. You don't know where they come from, and that was expected. It was expected as Lee would be significant, on the first tranche of ballots that came in. But
it looks like so far all of them, none are from LA County. They're all from Ventura.
That's huge. That's huge. Ventura County is Simi Valley. Simi Valley is much more Republican. So
and it looks like it's 61% of Ventura County is currently reporting.
Okay, then it really look. I can't say it doesn't mean much because when my results came in, it was mainly from Ventura County, the first batch, and it was, believe it or not, even worse than the final results. And I thought, it's okay. It's Simi Valley. We're going to do better in Lancaster and Palmdale. It turns out we did 50% better. That wasn't nearly enough. But for Christy, that might make a big difference. But here's another dynamic that I do know in the race, which is that, generally speaking, the Antelope Valley, there's two very different parts of the district. One is the southern part that is more of a suburb. Santa Clarita is the biggest part there, but there's also Simi Valley. There's a tiny bit of Porter Ranch in there. And so anyway, for those of you not familiar with LA, it's mainly suburban. And then when you cross over the mountains, there's the Antelope Valley, which is the Mojave Desert. And it's a totally different dynamic. And there, it used to be very Republican because the defense industry is there. And they're still there. And they're a very big presence. But now it's heavily Latino and a decent number of African Americans as well. So much more Democratic. That's why it's still an oddity that our Rex Paris is still the mayor of Lancaster, a Republican. And I was kidding around with Ben, but also true, that for half the race, I couldn't figure out why everybody was so possessive over Rex Paris. I get it, dude. He's your Rex Paris. Let it go. No, R is his first initial, right, as it turns out.
I had no idea what you're talking about.
Also, I think that there will be a bigger number of voters coming from the Ventura County part of this. So those are bigger numbers. They voted in bigger numbers, correct, Cenk?
Yeah, and so I wish Antelope Valley had stronger voter turnout. That would be better for progressives, better for Democrats. But the part I was going to get to is that Christy didn't have a lot of love in the Antelope Valley. She's from Santa Clarita, and Antelope Valley should be the Democratic stronghold, but she didn't have a great presence there.
So we have another. We have another big jump in votes to 60% reporting now. LA, about 60% of each county is in. It does appear to have helped her, but only a little bit. She made up a few points. Mike Garcia is now leading 55.7% to 44.3% for Christy Smith. It looks like he's not doing quite as well in LA, but he's still leading by 13,000 votes right now in LA County.
Yeah,
also,
that's
Garcia has a last name and a connection to the Hispanic and Latino parts of the community, always important too. So that shouldn't be discounted.
Yeah, he's a fraud, but
no, I'm not saying that, but it does matter, and we've seen it matter with every denomination in history. It mattered to Jay Kim, who was a staunch Republican, who was the first Korean American to serve in Congress. Won a ton of Democratic Koreans in California. Just people like that.
But that's part of the reason why they picked Garcia, because they know how Latino the district has become. So they're like, let's trick people by putting in a Latino who will vote against Latinos 100% of the time. And maybe that's part of what worked here. Guys, let's I'm ready to call it. I mean, 60% reporting, 55-45, that race is over.
I'm not ready to call it.
Okay.
I could go either way. Yeah, so I guess it's turning out pretty much how we might have expected, looking back a couple of months ago. I really did hold out hope that hypothetically, the fact that we've lost 80,000 people in a couple of months would have turned people a little bit off to the Republican Party, or at least make them want to go a little bit in a different direction. But perhaps
when
not.
Mostly Republicans are voting. I mean, that's what you have to really see the breakdown, John, before you see if this is kind of sends a blueprint out to how to run a race. I think all this does really is whoever wins tonight, it just gives them a little bit of a leg up in November. I don't think it makes any huge difference, personally.
But hypothetically, if in a number of special elections stretching back over the last couple of years, surprise Democratic turnout has helped to swing some of them and make some of them very close, even if they didn't swing to the Democrats.
True.
I would want the Democrats to be fired up this year to get rid of the Republicans, get rid of Trump, and I don't know. It doesn't look like that here.
I think they look at November for that. I mean, this is an atypical special. This isn't like the Ohio and Pennsylvania special elections, like Georgia 7, like ones that we've watched really closely. This is totally different. This is happening when people can't vote. This is happening when people are focused on a presidential race. It's happening when in California, so many Democrats are going to come out to vote for the Democrat against Donald Trump next time. It's going to make a difference that just a strange day in May, it can't have that effect today.
Yeah. All right. Stay on the 3-shot. Just a moment of levity. I like how our heads now appear to be in order of magnitude.
Yeah, why is mine so huge? I mean,
Epic Senior with the big head, Epic Junior with a
I'm sitting exactly where I've been sitting.
I can zoom out if you'd like. I can get down to Cenk's size.
And me with, for the first time in my life, a tiny, tiny head.
Yeah, I don't like this. Pull it back, Johnny. Pull it back. This is ridiculous.
It looks like we came in first, second, and third.
Right.
We build you as epic. We need to sell the epicness.
Right. That's right. Or we're like a Russian doll.
I like the little ring light effect you got going there. Oh, Russian doll. They need to bring out a second season of that. Although I realize you're talking about the actual thing. By the way, it's up to 76% now, and it looks like 55-45 or thereabouts is where it could end up. Yeah.
It's over. So, by the way, Zeffrey, who is the director of a potential movie about that race and about the election cycle, texted me right before we got on air and said, "You got to make a prediction." And I said, "Garcia," and he said, "Yeah. Give me the numbers." And I said 55-45. So it's less impressive because we knew the people who had mailed in the ballots, where they were coming from.
But in addition to you needing to make a prediction, I do think you also need to make an apology. You have been besmirching the electoral system of California all night, and they had the results in 15 minutes.
That's very true.
That's true. I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say that I need to apologize because I thought maybe Christy might not be a dynamic candidate, and as it turned, okay. So, God, let's have a tiny bit of fun here. I know I'm supposed to get to the videos, and I will, theoretically, etc. But what do we think? And I'm particularly curious about Michael's opinion. If we could ever shrink his head to a reasonable...
What is going on with me?
Okay, so...
let's play the ridiculous hypothetical of what if I had won the primary, which I've now said like 78 times was not close. That's why it's a ridiculous hypothetical. But I'll go first. I think the result might have been 55-45. And I'll say why in a second. But first, Michael, what do you think?
Well, I mean, objectively, I would say you would have trounced him and you would have won. You've been the next congressman. But I don't think that's the case. I think that it would have been harder to get some of these Democrats out today. I think you would have done better in November than you did tonight, because I think a longer race and a race that got a lot of attention people are not paying attention. John, you got to pull my shot back. This is ridiculous. My head is just too big. I don't know why it's happening either. It's a new thing to this show.
It's an aspect ratio thing, I think.
Okay, well, I don't know. Okay, yeah. That's not a good enough.
By the way, I got a mug as large as Michael's.
Right. It's great. You should see. You can't see them, but I've got Jefferson and Roosevelt, and I've got it's like it's ridiculous. Not Roosevelt.
I get it.
Theodore Roosevelt. But so I don't think you would have done much better than Christy tonight. But I do think you would have a chance to have done much better in the fall with a longer race, and a race where everyone was paying attention and a lot of Democrats were coming out. I just don't think tonight is indicative of anything.
Yeah, the reason I said it might have been 55-45 if it was me is because the few voters that came out appear to be very party line. And so if 55% of the voters were going to be Republican, then the Republican candidate's going to win. You got to swing the independent voters. You can't really swing the Republican voters. I mean, I would have had a prayer if it was longer, as Michael's saying, but it would have been a wild, weird, totally different race if anybody was paying attention, because the only way that I ever swung Republican voters, and I did swing a couple I didn't meet that many because you talk to Democrats and you knock on Democratic doors. But when I did canvassing in the malls, I'd run into Republicans. And the only thing that would swing them was Nancy Pelosi hates me. And they'd be like, oh, okay, now I'm listening. And then I could win them over with no money in politics. I hate the corruption. And, Garcia or Knight, they'll take orders from the Republican Party. And every one of those was like, for the folks who would listen, they were like, oh, yeah, no, that's true. And a couple of them did promise to vote for me. Apparently, literally a couple.
We don't know. They haven't finished counting.
That's true. Yeah.
It worked briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but look, from my point of view, there's no ha-ha in a couple of ways. One, it's not cool. Two, I don't mean it. I wanted Christy Smith to win. I wanted Garcia to lose. And three, like I just said, I don't think, at least in the special election, it would have made much of a difference if 55% of the voters were Republicans. So it is what it is. And so, for God's sake, the main point there, guys, is go out and vote. You got to vote. Now, in this case, not go out, but mail in your votes. You got to vote, because that's how Republicans win all these elections. We outnumber them everywhere, almost everywhere, and they just not vote us.
Yeah, and if you're not voting for someone, vote against someone. Feels just as good. And so that's the thing about voting that people forget. That we were talking about it earlier at some point. Staying home, sitting on your hands. I don't like either of them. It does make a difference. What you said about Mike Garcia is true, Cenk. I mean, yeah, is Christy Smith your favorite candidate in the history of candidates? No, you ran against her, but the point is that everything that you don't like about her is Mike Garcia, just on steroids, and that's enough.
Yeah, and look, there are differences between Democratic candidates. It's not that we just ran against each other. There was like Anibal Valdez Ortega. He's a up and coming guy. He's a young, smart guy, and he's fairly to very progressive. So if he was the major candidate and he had won, I'd be like, oh, great. I mean, we agree 94% of the time. I love that Ani won, right? So there were real differences between me and Christy, but it doesn't matter. The differences between me and Garcia are much greater. Much, much greater.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.